Chunky. It's the voice of reason for a Wednesday afternoon. We're back with the phone-in tonight from 9 exclusive at alexbelfield.com. This has been the worst month in history, hasn't it? This has been even worse than the pandemic. The COVIDs that actually gave us a certain security blanket as we were told to stay at home and protect the NHS. We now see that excess deaths are through the roof. Still 1,000 people a week dying not of COVID, but of the consequences of COVID. We don't have any figures on suicides or anything like that at the moment, but I suspect that the mental health of the nation has never been more beaten as we find £9,000 electric bills popping through our cat flaps and 68,000 going to the average pub, which is going to ultimately close them down. We find out that fish and chips will double in price next week, according to the mainstream media. Not that we trust them, or indeed politicians who told us get the jab even if you're pregnant. We now know that advice has changed on that. It seems like the chickens have come home to roost in the last month, and we've finally got to the bottom of it. We know that masks were mostly ineffective because people didn't wear them right, and those silly blue ones had no purpose whatsoever. We know that the lockdown didn't work, and we know that our potential future Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, wanted to fight against it, but was told he couldn't, almost as if there has been a silencing of the nation, politicians, the right to protest, the right to march, and anybody who had a contrary opinion to that of the propaganda that was paid for by the government to be broadcast by the mainstream media, who were given millions and millions of pounds in advertising to continue the narrative of stay at home and protect the NHS. Well, people stayed at home and then got ill. That's why there's 1,000 excess deaths a week at the moment. That's why nobody really knows about the mental health crisis and the suicides, because there's no figures on it. And that's why we're stood here today wondering how we're going to get through the winter. My belief is that this is not as bad as they're making out. According to Keir Starmer, little Keir Cars, it's 29 billion to sort this out, which in proportion to the cost of the old Kung Flu, well, it's nothing, is it? We know that 29 billion can be wiped off in a second when you can find 2.3 billion for Ukraine by going piff, paff, poof to bomb the Russians to cause more deaths. We know 80 to 90,000 Russian deaths and 10,000-ish Ukraine deaths. This is a humanitarian disaster that nobody seems to care about. We're not even seeing it in the news. It comes and goes, but we just keep financing more bombs to bomb each side. Doesn't matter which side, just any side. The irony that as we stand here at the beginning of September tomorrow, on the 25th anniversary of the passing of Diana, we wonder where do we go from here when it comes to getting to the truth. Most concerning to me this week is the notion that there's a watch list of influencers, of reporters and journalists that the government and police are scared of, don't like and want silenced. And they're akin to terrorists, according to this new list, which is unbelievable. The notion that speaking could put you in line with people who blow each other up shows how terrifying this world has become. A world where we were told for 2.5 years to shut up, listen and do as we were told. We now know that that has been catastrophic when it comes to excess deaths and the impact on the NHS, who just today, by the way, we found out are paying £1,900 at the worst example for nurses at the weekend, because that's what they have to pay in the bidding process to get people to save lives. The mainstream media continue to control us with fear, and fear itself is the best way of controlling a nation, and we've got to stop it. All this nonsense of the £6,000 people are going to have to find for their energy bills, it's not going to be found. That doesn't exist in people's bank accounts. What are they going to do? They're going to come in, are they, and get a warrant and put a meter into everybody's home, a pay-as-you-go meter? What are they going to do? Find 100,000 meter operatives to come into people's homes? I don't think so. What we've got to do is keep perspective. As they're blaming Trump, just see what's happening at our borders. Thousands of people coming in last week, 800 on one day, 906 on another, 1,300 last Tuesday. It's an amazing situation that nobody's doing anything about, but it's not just here. In America, they've got the same problem. In New York, 14 hotels last week were being used by immigrants that have made it over Trump's wall because they've tore it down, because that's what lefties do. They create another problem by solving a human rights issue to be kind. Well, be kind has left us in a big global mess. We just need to keep perspective on the truth and know where we're going in terms of our own lives and our own mental well-being, because they're trying to beat us down as they're terrifying us with the price of fish and chips to our electric bill, to the notion that the airports and hotels are still incapable of coping with us 2 years after this whole thing began. We've got to see what's going on. It's not nice and it's not pleasant. But during August, all we've seen is this pounding of negativity to bring people down and make them paranoid. That's got to stop. Tomorrow we're going to September. Tonight we do the phone in from 9 at alexbelfield.com, where you can join us and have your say about anything. We're not here at YouTube because we don't want to be. We can't be because of the saboteurs and those who want to control free speech. Well, we found another way of doing it behind our huge wall at alexbelfield.com. Join our thousands of supporters at alexbelfield.com, where we have an open forum. You can speak about anything you like on the message boards, and you can call the phone in twice a week on a Sunday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. The breakfast news at 6 a.m. is 35 minutes long every day. The 50 to 70 top stories where I don't have to edit myself. I can speak as I find, but that comes at a very high price in 2022. We need to keep perspective. They're blaming Putin for everything. Well, I think we smell a rat. They told us everything was true that they demanded of us during lockdown, and now we know that wasn't true. Even pregnant women shouldn't have been taking the jab, according to the new advice on the government website. Who do we trust? Who do we believe? Well, we have to believe our instincts, and we need to follow our noses when it comes to smelling the bullshit. We continue to do that on a daily basis at alexbelfield.com.
Don't trust the mainstream media. They'll make your teeth itch. Alex Belfield's voice of reason.